Hey guys, this is Allie with Allie Answers. Welcome to my channel, and if you've been here before, welcome back. If you would take a moment to go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, that will help more people see these videos. It's just how the algorithm works, so I appreciate it. Often when people are trying to place their loved one that has dementia, they are concerned about making the money last. So I had this conversation with a friend last night. Her mother is in a really beautiful assisted living in the memory care section, and it is quite expensive. And she said, I just don't know that we can make this last for as long as she's gonna last. It is hard to know what the future holds, absolutely. And certainly there are people who live for a very, very long time with dementia, but it's been my anecdotal experience. So meaning not scientific, this is just me telling you my personal experience. I had probably in 13 years, maybe 2 people who ran out of money and had to move to a different type of facility. So let's talk about how people made the money stretch, and let's talk about why you might not have to. So first of all, most people are waiting longer and longer to place their loved one. They are more acute, they have more problems. The breaking point for a lot of families is incontinence, and that is something that comes in the later stages for the most part when it comes to dementia. Urinary and bowel incontinence is something that there are a lot of loved ones that they're like, okay, I'm out. This is more than I can handle. A lot of times when someone is coming into a community and they're coming into memory care, they are more profound. They've aged in their dementia, and if they have any comorbidities, they usually are having more problems. That being said, often when they first move in, families really want to give the loved one everything that they can. So as we know, assisted livings, memory care, personal care homes, a lot of them are designed to wow the adult children, and there's nothing wrong with that because you want to be comfortable with a decision that you made for your loved one. Moving them into a beautiful place with a full schedule of activities, lots of staff, and things like fountains and pools and beautiful landscaping and gardens is something that a lot of people want to do. And if they can afford it, they definitely want to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great. But I will tell you that as people age in place, often they no longer need some of those bells and whistles. So what I mean by that is someone who is more profound in their dementia is going to not necessarily want a private room. Even your mother, let's say, who is extremely private, who has lived by herself for 30 years and really wants her alone time, and she's not even participating in activities because she really likes to be alone, that person may be in a very different place a year from now. So my experience is that as people progress in their dementia, the space that they need kind of shrinks. So maybe they don't need a suite, they don't need a living room and a bedroom. Maybe they can just have one large room that has a bedroom, and that you can save money that way. Or what happens a lot of times is that in memory care, people tend to drift towards people who are like themselves. We did that in high school, right? And we did it in college. It's no different when you're a senior. And so we try to find people that we have similarities to, that we're kind of in the same place mentally, and they usually make friends. Those friends can make amazing roommates, because guess what? As we get further along with dementia, then we are kind of going backwards in our minds and think about it. When a lot of these folks were children, they shared bedrooms with someone. They were not alone at night. Our fears and our anxieties can get bigger and bigger and bigger as dementia progresses. So a lot of times a roommate situation is going to save money, and it's going to make your loved one more comfortable. So remember, when you are considering making that money last and you're looking kind of at what you're getting that loved one right now, may change as far as what they need and what you need for them to have. Let's be honest, when you move someone into a community, there's a lot of guilt, and a lot of times people really want to move them into the best place, which is the most expensive place. As people progress, they may go back to their roots. They may be happier in a smaller place with less fancy food because they are going back in time, and maybe that person grew up on a farm and they would rather have a meat and 2 vegetables than a fancy salad. I actually had residents that didn't know what a taco salad was. They had never had it before. So sometimes what matched them now will not match them later, okay? Ideally, you're gonna move someone into a community and they'll be able to stay throughout their lifetime. But it doesn't always happen that way, and you can save money by moving them later on. Second, I'm going to tell you the average person moving into assisted living lives in the community or lives in care for 22 months. There are people that live much longer in care, and of course there are people that live a much shorter period of time. But if you know that the average person, based on just acuity levels and when we are moving people in as a culture, then the average person lives 22 months, then I always tell people he knows what's going to happen, and certainly a person can outlive their money, but it's a concern that pretty much every single family brings up, but yet I have not seen it be a problem very often. So that tells me that it is less likely to be an issue for most people. Let's say they do spend all of their money. You're in a private pay community, they spend all their money. I am by no means a Medicare expert or a Medicaid expert, but I do know that I have seen those two families were able to spend down their loved one's money and apply for the support through the government, and then they were able to move their loved one to a facility that took Medicare or Medicaid. So my best advice when you're trying to place your loved one is absolutely yes, you have to be careful with your money. You have to make sure that their money lasts, and they earned it. They worked hard to make that money, or to take care of that land that they sold to have the money. And so we want to make their money last, but the chances are very good that if we make wise choices and we realize that the person that we have right now is not going to be the same person that we have down the road, that we can make that last. But the most important thing is that we deal with the present. What does your loved one need now? They don't need to be alone, perhaps. They don't need to be in a family home where there's a lot of excitement and children and dogs or whatever running around. Maybe that is causing them stress and anxiety and causing behavior issues, for example. So if that person needs to be in a community, we need to do what is best for that person now, because no one is promised tomorrow. So I used to tell people, you know how your mom's on a walker and she can only really deal with this area, then I need you to do the same thing. I need you to make the best choice today, knowing what you know. It's really hard because no one has a crystal ball and we don't know ultimately what the future holds. But I think that most people who make the best decision for their loved one based on current circumstances, knowing that things change, are going to end up being happy with the decision that they made. This is hard stuff, guys, but you're doing a wonderful job loving on that person. So keep it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye, friends.